Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Cross Time 2100 Eastern or 100 UTC. The net is a result of a roundtable conversation between three hams, one in BC, one in Ontario, and one in New Brunswick, who want to bring Canadians together from coast to coast and those abroad so that we can create new friendships and share ideas and technical information. This is Victor Echo 3 Bravo Foxtrot. My name is Dennis. I'm located in Ottawa, and I will be your net control station for this evening. This net is conducted in both digital and analog modes and is linked through various repeaters and nodes across the WiresX network via room 40678, giving licensed amateurs from across Canada and around the world a chance to participate. This is a directed net, so all traffic and comments shall be directed through me. Before taking regular check-ins, I'd like to chat a little bit about our topic for this evening, and that is electrical protection. I figured we'd do a technical net tonight since we haven't done one in a while, and recently, well, as early as Monday, we had a little voltage spike here in Ottawa, and it took out my WiresX computer and did not have a surge protector on it. So, thanks to Jack, VE7GDE, who suggested that this would be a great topic for this evening, and we'll look forward to hear what you guys are doing, how you guys protect yourselves. Do you have any protections? Is something that we should be thinking about? All right, as per usual, we will ask for check-ins from stations who are portable mobiles and stations that can only be here on a short term. Please call now.
November 1, Charlie, Delta, November. Alpha.
VURCC, portable. Victor Echo 3, PD.
All right, there was a bunch of collisions in there. I know I missed one for sure, but let's see here. I got Steve, N1CDN, good evening. I got Woody, VE3, Juliet Alpha. I've got Rob, VE1RCC, and I've got Rick, VE3, PD. Who did I miss?
Victor Echo 3, Juliet Tango Delta.
All right, and I got Jeff, VE3JTD. Very good. Let's go to the top of that short list and say hello to Steve, who's probably a little warmer than we are. Go ahead, Steve, and N1CDN, VE3BF.
You know, probably not, because you're inside of a heated house that makes it around 20 Celsius, and I'm inside an air-conditioned house that makes it the same. And as far as surge protection goes, I have surge protectors on every outlet in the house. Every television, every computer, everything that runs through the main grid in my house is protected by a surge protector. That being said, I got all those when I got them for free, because the company I work for would hand them out. So I don't expect most people to do that. But if you go to the power company and have their surge protector installed, let me tell you this, they don't work. So you go with the individual one. In and out, no traffic. Good to hear you, Dennis. And back to the net control. BE3BF and N1CDN.
All right, Steve. Very good. Thank you for sharing that. And that's very interesting stuff, one on each outlet. I have to say I do better at the RV because I've got a beautiful surge protector that sits on the outside of the RV and does all kinds of weird and wonderful things like low voltage protection, over voltage protection, all kinds of cool stuff like that. So maybe I got to look at something like that for here. VE3 Juliet Alpha. Good evening, Woody. How are you this evening?
Dennis, I'm very well this evening in Sioux Narrows. As usual, I have a CFARS exercise on Wednesday evening, so I have to take off early, usually, so have to leave, like to be excused if I may. And I've been taken out by lightning in my location here and lost equipment. And I have on my main breakers switch system in the shack here. I have a surge protector built right into the panel, so that's in the panel. And I got one of all my backup batteries have surge protectors in them too, but everything's plugged into those, so sort of got it doubled up on that. Anyway, have to run and get set for the exercise this evening, and thanks for being there, Dennis. Over.
Well, very good, Woody. I'm glad you could take the time to join us this evening. Thanks for your input, sir, and I hope you have a successful exercise there this evening. Again, thanks for taking the time to join us. It's much appreciated. Let's go to Nova Scotia and say hi to Rob, VE1RCC. Good evening, Rob. How are you tonight?
VE3BF, RCC, portable here. Here at my parents here right now, so I won't keep it that long. But for surge protectors, I've always had like power bars and stuff like that with the surge protectors in them and all that stuff. But it served me well thus far. I had one incident where we had a brownout and it done its thing, so ruined it, but it protected my stuff, so I always have them. And all that stuff. Other than that, it feels almost spring-like, but not quite here in Southwest NOAA. But anyway, it feels like it's, well, it's only 4 degrees right now, but it was a little warmer whenever the sun's out. So, anyway, thanks for letting me in. Everyone have a good one there. V1RCC, portable.
All right, very good, Rob. Did you guys get any freezing rain today? I guess you did not get any freezing rain today. It passed you guys, went north of you, I guess?
Yeah, roger. We didn't have anything like that. We're just rain, mostly rain here.
Well, good to hear. Well, thank you for taking the time for joining us this evening, and enjoy the time spending with your parents there. I'm sure they're grateful to have you around. Let's go to Rick, V3PD. Richard, out in Orleans. How are you tonight?
Oh, good evening, Dennis. V3PD, back to you. Yeah, surge protectors. I've got them on the TVs and computers, and actually the ones I got, you plug your telephone lines and TV cable and everything into them, so it protects everything. I gotta admit, in the ham shack, I've got nothing protected. When we get lightning or thunder, I just undo the coax and go portable. Basically, that's my safety there. I've never had a problem down this end, touch wood. I hope I never will. Anyway, that's it for now, Dennis. I'm going to try to listen in while I'm doing my work here, and we'll talk to you again soon. VE3BF and the group VE3PD. We'll be clear, 73.
All right, very good. Thanks for taking the time to join us, Richard. And we also have a digital check-in from Jason, VE9 CAS, who is checked in electronically through his repeater using TeamViewer. So, Jason, if you're listening in either on the internet or by other means, by radio or another repeater, glad to have you on board. Glad you're having a good trip there, enjoying the pictures from Florida. All right, next is Jeff, VE3JTD. Good evening, Jeff. Come on aboard.
Yeah, good evening, Dennis, and everyone else on the net. Quick one from tonight. I do a lot of surge protection and lighting arresting at work. We find most surges, most problems come in from the hydro mains. Ray cap, whole house or whole building protection, they're fairly inexpensive. 300, maybe $400 will do the entire house. It seems like a big cost, but when you add up, many surge protectors, so that and, grounded polyphasers on all antennas, everything. So that's what I do. Anyways, back to net, and thanks, Dennis.
All right, very good, Ray. Jeff, did you say Ray Cap? Is that a brand name over?
Yeah, correct. That's a brand name, yeah.
Well, very cool. We'll do some research on that. Thanks for sharing, and hopefully you guys are warming up there as well in Marathon. So I wish you all the best. Thanks for taking the time to check in tonight. Let's go to regular check-ins, and as usual, we'll work our way from the east to the west because of the time zone. So let's start off with Atlantic Canada. Anyone in Newfoundland, PEI, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, please come now.
VE1 Charlie Hotel Lima.
VE1 Lima Victor. VE1 HUL.
VA1 Victor Charlie. And last but not least, Victor Echo 1 Kilo Echo Victor.
All right, I missed one. There was one collision just before Kevin there. So VE1 CHL, good evening, Scott. VE1 LV, good evening, Hal. VE1 HUL, good evening, Dave. Good evening to Don, VA1 VC. And good evening to VE1 KEV, Kevin. Good to have you on board. Who did I miss?
VE1 Zulu X-ray.
And VE1 ZX. We got you, Brad. Thank you very much. Let's go to the top of that list and say hi to Scott. What's new and what's happening out in Truro, Scott?
VE3BF, VE1 CHL. Good evening, Dennis, and good evening, everyone across Canada. Oh, the weather was, wait a minute and see what it's going to do today. It wasn't all that cold, but kind of wet and miserable at times, and the sun came out at times, so a little bit of everything there. And as for protection, I have most important electronics on with protectors, and I am in the midst of building an actuator that will disconnect all antennas, power, internet, antenna switch lines, rotors switch lines, and I hope to have that done in a week's time. So I'm tired of disconnecting cables all the time, so I'm going to have a battery hooked up to the actuator and push a switch and it'll disconnect everything. So that's what I'm going to do, and I've been lucky over the last 35 years of just disconnecting everything when the storms come, and I've been quite lucky. Hopefully that'll keep on going. That's about it, Dennis. VE3BF, VE1CHL.
All right, very good. I know you've been talking about that project to me on other occasions, and I'm hoping you're going to get some pictures of that. I'm really looking forward to it, maybe even some video. That sounds really cool, Scott. Thanks for being with us this evening, and good evening to Hal, also in Truro. Didn't hear you on the radio today, but maybe it was just our timing. Good evening, Hal. Come on aboard.
VE3BF, this is E1LV, and a very good evening to all those on the net. And I have, like most everybody else, I have surge protectors on all the electronics, although Jack told me about a coffee percolator, and I had forgotten that one, so I have to pick up a surge protector for it. And he also told me that for lightning coming in over the AC lines, surge protectors is pretty well not going to do the job for you, so you have to disconnect, and the same with antennas. Although what Scott is building most likely is the answer for all facilities. Anyhow, I was about to, Brad hadn't called in. I was about to say that Brad was watching a hockey game, but he must be calling in and watching a hockey game too. Back to you, Dennis. This is the E1LV.
Oh, very good, Hal. Oh, yeah, he's a dedicated fan, that's for sure. It's all good. It's all good. And I hope you guys had a good time there on the Geritol net last night. I know the guys were very pleased to have you aboard, so thanks for joining us there. VE1 HUL, good evening, Dave. I don't think we've spoken in quite a while. Good to hear you, sir. Come on aboard.
Good evening, Dennis, and all those on the net across Canada. Yeah, I've been kind of sidetracked here lately. We're taking a Morse code course, and it happens to be on Wednesday night. By the time a fellow gets home and gets oriented around doing other things, I kind of forgot about this group, but we finished up a little early tonight, and I was doing some other stuff, so I thought I'd check in. And like Scott says, the weather was iffy at best today. Beautiful sunshine at one point, and pouring out of the heavens at the next. So, but we did manage. I think it was around 7 degrees here at one point today, so that's not bad. Anyways, grounding protection. Being new to the game, wasn't aware or wasn't really sure what I needed to do, but having dealt with grounding a lot at work, I kind of had a bit of an idea. So anyways, I've got my TV and computer and stuff on surge protection, and the amateur radio stuff here in the house is all run off of solar charged battery system 100% of the time. And I have ground rod tied to the frame of the solar panels, and also have ground rods for each of my antennas, and also, I guess like a lot of people, I'm disconnecting antennas when we're looking at thunder and lightning, and I have a panel, I guess, I connect all the antennas to that goes directly to ground, so that if there is something comes in over the cables, it's going to ground. And that's my story, and at the present time, I'm sticking to it, unless something else better comes up. Although I do like Scott's idea. Anyways, we'll say 7-3 to all those on the net, and we'll turn it back to you, Dennis, and try and get on the net a little more often. Anyways, VE1HUL, we'll go back to standby and listen.
All right, very good, Dave. Well, first of all, let me congratulate you for taking CW course. Hope it's going well for you, and I hope you stick with it. It's cool stuff. As a matter of fact, there's a big resurgence in code in a lot of places, but here in Ottawa, they put on a code. Two of the local clubs got together, and quite a number of students, and I think they're taking their exams starting next week. So good on everybody for taking in code. It's certainly it's a frustrating thing to learn, but it's a lot of fun once you get going on it. It's like learning a whole new language. So I wish you all the best, sir. Thanks for your participation tonight, and with what you've described, you're well ahead of the game. You're ahead of most of us, so good on you. Good evening, Don. Victor Alpha 1, Victor Charlie. I hope all is well with you. Welcome aboard, sir.
Yeah, very good evening to you, Dennis, and everyone that's on the net tonight. Sounds like it's a little better over my way than it was in Truro. I had about 10 degrees today and just the odd little sprinkle, so managed to get outside and check around a little bit to see how much the frost is coming out of the ground. It must be almost out now, so I see a few blades of grass coming here and there. They're not real tall because it hasn't been any warm sunshine, but anyway, I have those power bar surge protectors on most everything I have here. Although here a while ago I had problems with my satellite receiver and the recorder, I should say, and I went through all these things calling up the company and do this and do that, and if it don't work right, call us back. So I went through a whole bunch of things, but one of the things they told me to do was not plug my recorder into my power bar surge bar, and I said, "Oh," she said, "just plug it into the wall outlet." I said, "Why would I do that?" And she says, "Well, we believe that those power bars loop whatever, and it may have affected the electronics in the recorder." But anyway, I don't know how good these power bars are and a real direct hit to the home place. I really don't know, because I think that stuff can travel and jump more than the king frog in Africa, I guess. But my only hope is being hit once by lightning is that my trees are getting quite tall now all around my house, and they're a lot taller. Some of them are taller than my antennas, and I'm kind of hoping they're going to hit the tree branches first and not come straight down from the heaven, I guess. As long as it comes in at an angle, I'm hoping it'll hit the trees. And that's kind of old-fashioned, but I'm hoping that's the way it's going to work in the future. So there you go. It's not traditional, but sometimes I'm hoping that it may be my best way out, because I don't know if lightning strikes twice or not, but I don't really want to find out. Once was quite enough. So anyway, thanks for calling me in, Dennis, and hope everybody's well across Canada. Back to you.
All right, thanks very much, Don. Well, it's funny because here it wasn't really a lightning strike that got me. It was a power surge when the power went out, and it only went out for about 10 seconds. And when it came back on, I guess it was a bit of a surge, and maybe that power supply was getting weak for other reasons, but anyway, it took out the power supply in the computer. And when I went into the parts store to buy a new power supply, I found out that a refurbished machine with 3-year warranty was going to be $10 more than a power supply. So I went for that. Hi. Thanks for your input, Don. Thanks for being with us. Let's go to Amherst and say hi to Kevin, VE3KEV. It's a great call, man. It's so easy for me to remember that one. Come on aboard, sir, VE3BF.
Well, that's great there, Dennis, and good evening, sir. VE3 Bravo Fox from VE1 Kilo Echo Victor. Yeah, Kevin in Amherst, and like everywhere else, it was a beautiful day here, not bad at all. We didn't have any torrential downpours here today, just the odd little sprinkle, but nothing really. And we did see the sun even for a little bit there as well. So it wasn't too bad of a day. And also happy World Amateur Radio Day as well. There's a couple nets going on, I guess, as well, and in regards to that. And so I've been kind of keeping a little ear on that as well. So anyway, protection, yeah, we have the surge protectors here as well. Power bars with the surge protection, and a couple half decent, pretty good ones there on the TV and TVs and stuff. So, and I guess, and like Scott was saying there, that does sounds pretty good what he's doing. So hopefully he'll send the pictures out and around. I guess that's it from here, Dennis. Thank you very much for calling me in tonight, 7-3, and have a great evening and a good rest of the week there. V3 Bravo Fox from V1 Kilo Echo Victor.
All right, thanks very much, Kevin. And power bars seem to be the leader so far this evening. Good info there. Thanks very much. And let's go to the hockey fan, VE1 Zulu X-Ray. How are the teams doing tonight, Brad?
Well, V3 Bravo Foxtrot from V1 Zulu X-Ray. Boy, that Hal's got me pegged, ain't he? Yeah, well, I guess Pittsburgh's up on Philly there 4-0 there, so, and I think Tampa Bay's ahead of the Devils there. Anyway, we're got one eye on it here, and okay on the surge protectors. We're pretty much the same way, except both repeaters we have in the government sites, and that's one of the stipulations that we got them in there, that everything's protected, the antennas and the whole kit there, so we got them, but that's not saying they won't get hit. And when we get an electric storm along the shore here, we just connect everything here, even though they got surge protectors on it there, power bars, but they get pretty violent when they come up through the Bay of Fundy here, up through the Minus Basin here, Dennis. Thanks for checking me in. Have a good evening there. VE3 Bravo Foxtrot from V1 Zulu X-Ray.
Yeah, very good, Brad. Very good. Thanks for sharing that info, and it was good to hear you last night on 80 meters, you and Hal there. You had a commanding signal, that's for sure. And once I figured out where my bypass switch was on my amplifier, my signal changed a bit too. I didn't realize I was only running 50 watts. Anyway, that brings me to the bottom of my list. So we'll open it up. Any other stations in the Atlantic Canada, we'll open it up to Quebec as well, and we'll also open it to Eastern Ontario.
VA3 MPS. Victory good to Lima Papacia.
And Windsor.
All right, good to hear stations in Quebec. It's been a while since we've heard anybody from Quebec. Welcome aboard, guys. I got VA3 MPS. Steve, good evening. I got VE2 Mike Hotel, VE2 LPS. There was another station there. I believe it was ending in either 0 or Oscar. Please come again. All right, James, got you in there. JPX. That's not what I heard, but I believe you that it was you. Hi. Let's go to the top of the list. Good evening, Steve. Are you heading back from the club meeting, and did you line your arms with more products from the mini flea market? Hi.
VE3BF, VA3MPS. Good evening, Dennis and the group. First of all, I'm still sick here. I got quite a nasty cough, so I won't speak for long. The club had the, flea market tonight. I made $20, and I think I spent $2. That was it. Most people, of course, are bringing in a lot of their junk, and I had enough of my own junk, so I didn't want to bring more junk home. But it was nice to see. You and I were supposed to get together, but we'll need to delay that till at least next week, Dennis, when I feel better. And on your question about the protection there, well, I'm kind of linking that to winning the lotto, and I've been buying tickets for a long time and not even getting close, so I'm figuring my equipment here is safe. And that's about it, Dennis. So 73 to all. This is VA3MPS, Steve in Ottawa.
All right, Steve. I like that, winning the lotto. Well, that's certainly a good analogy, and I hope it works out for you. I hope you don't win the lotto on that one. Hi. Thanks for checking in, and you let me know when you're feeling better, and we'll set something up. No problem, and we'll get that antenna all tuned up for you. Victor Echo 2, Mike Hotel. I don't think we've ever spoken before. I don't think you've been on the net, so welcome aboard, sir, and I understand you're mobile. Go ahead.
Net control, Victor Echo 3, Bravo Foxtrot. This is Victor Echo 2, Mike Hotel, mobile. The first name here is Mark, Mike Alpha Romeo Charlie, Mark. My present QTH is just on the Mercier Bridge, just crossing into the island of Montreal, headed to my destination at work, UGG. And just thought I'd check in because everybody's sounding nice on the frequency here. And just checking in. I don't have any messages or traffic yet. So we'll pass that tonight to control and continue listening for the next 15 or 20 minutes before I have to go to work. So with that, I'll bid everybody a good 73s and look forward to being on the net a little more often and make it a habit. So with that, again, 73s, I'll bring it back to net control, the 3BF, VE2MMH mobile. Over.
All right, Mark. Well, thanks for joining us this evening. And if you're on the net any other time, feel free to call in any time. We're always open to stations that are mobile or portable, or otherwise can't stay for the whole net. So if you don't get a chance, or when you hear the net, just pipe in your call on the next call for check-ins, regardless of the territory we're calling, and we'll bring you in, sir. Well, welcome aboard, and thanks for joining us. It's a pleasure having you, sir. Drive safe. Victor Echo 2 LPS, that's Louis in Dimotang. Good evening, bienvenue.
Okay, V3 Bravo Fox, V2LTS. Yes, hello to you, hello to everybody. I make a promise from Mike, V7 Alpha Mike, but we'll come to the net. You told me that you have not enough V2 on the air, so say hello to everybody. I have no traffic. Back to you.
All right, Lee, well, it's good to have you back on board, sir, and it's good to hear you. Thanks for joining in tonight. Let's go to Canada, VA3JPX, James, who is recording the net for us, and it'll be on the Facebook page in the next day or so, 1 or 2 or 3 days. We don't want to hold him to a schedule. It's great that he records these things, and there is an archive there from different nets, including the one that we had with John Kruk, the representative from yaesu. So if you have not yet checked out the Facebook page, just go into the Facebook search bar and type in C4FM net or Canada C4FM net, and you'll find us there. Enter in your call sign. We'll bring you in as a member, and you can cruise through some of the older files. Come on aboard, James. Thanks for being here. Okay, a little bit of a hiccup there. I'm not sure if it was on the repeater or on my note. We got most of that, James. Thank you for your input, and thanks for doing what you're doing. It was kind of a strange little thing there, and there was somebody else that came in as well. Not sure if it was a check-in. So, but very good. Thanks again. We did get 90% of it, James. So, again, thanks for being there. This brings me to the bottom of my list. So I'm going to look for more check-ins in Ontario, and I'm also going to open it up to the U.S. Anyone on the east side of the Mississippi wishing to check in, and the rest of Ontario, and of course anyone east of that. Please come now.
Victor Alpha 3 Tango Golf November, Jim in Windsor, Ontario.
3-3 Papa Victor in Windsor.
All right, and we also have some stations I believe in Europe. Is there anyone in Europe that would like to check in at this time? I know it's pretty early there in the morning. Any stations in Europe wishing to check in? All right, well, we'll go with the two that we have. Good evening, Tim, VA3TGN. How are you this evening, and did you guys have a nice warm spring day that you're going to send to us there?
Not yet, not till the weekend there, Dennis. Good evening to all in that. Still pretty cold, but by the weekend it'll be in the 60s there here in the southwest. So we're hoping for it. So if you send in the warmer weather to you there in Ottawa, thanks for being there. And I'll say 73 PA3 TGN in Windsor.
All right, Tim, thanks for joining us and staying in Windsor. Good evening, Rick, VE3PV. I heard you on the powwow net last night. The signals were a little staticky at my end, but I heard you in there. Over.
Yes, good evening, Dennis, and everybody else on the net. Yeah, it's been hit and miss on 80 meters at that time of night. So, like one night, it'll be too noisy to copy anything, and the next time it'll be crystal clear. So, that powwow club only goes to the end of the month, and it's in hiatus for the summer until October the 1st. So, other than that, yeah, when VA3JPX was speaking, things dropped out. So I keyed up to bring up our node again. Our node dropped off, Dennis.
Oh, that's interesting, Rick. So maybe it was something system-wide. I know there's been some hiccups. We had an ice storm here, throughout Ontario that started last Friday and just migrated its way across, well, as you know, migrated its way across the province. We got it hard on Sunday and Monday. And our internet here at my home has been absolutely silly. Disappearing, dropping out, going very slow, going back to regular speed. I'm glad that it's nothing too serious on my end this evening. It seems to have stabilized itself. So thanks for being with us. Thanks for the update, and we'll look for you a little bit further down the log, as they say. With that, I'll open up for more check-ins. Let's go a little further west. Let's see if there's anyone in Manitoba or Saskatchewan, and of course, east of that are welcome to check in as well.
Victor Alpha 3 Juliet Papa Golf, Ottawa.
Okay, well, we'll take them one at a time. Victor Alpha 3 Juliet Papa Golf. Good evening, JP, and how are you this evening?
Very good evening, Dennis, and everybody on board, V3PF, VA3JPG. Yeah, we're pretty good. We're pretty good, considering no ice storm, and it's got to be good. Yes, well, I guess you know that ice storm really created all kinds of havoc in the area. And as far as surge protectors, you know, and I believe it's in Stittsville, those units that they sell or that they install on the main panels, I don't think they're very good. Be leery of those. It caused one house to burn down, and I believe the neighbor or somebody very, very close, something melted or got very, very warm in their panels. So something to beware of on those panel units. And over here, well, we have a UPS on the main computer system, and lots of surge protectors on the power bars, and one bigger unit surge protector that I got for the stereo system and TV system upstairs. So there you go. But as far as the radio goes, antennas, well, we fly by the seat of our pants. We're just, we say a little prayer every night so God doesn't strike us with a lightning bolt. Hi.
Over to you, Dennis, V3BF, VA3JPG.
Yeah, very good, JP. Well, you know, I mean, I do the same thing as Steve there. I play the lotto. Whenever I leave the house in the summertime, if I'm going to the trailer or something, all the antennas get unplugged and put to ground, and the rig gets unplugged, and even the USB cable now gets unplugged because I was watching a YouTube the other day, and somebody got hit, and they thought the station was all protected, but it made its way through the phone line into the computer, fried the computer, and went into the USB to the radio to get to the ground, and fried everything through the sound card into the radio. So, this stuff just migrates and travels, so you cannot be too careful. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of the lottery. Anyway, thanks for being with us, and appreciate your being in the pot there. And let's go a little further west, and I know there's a couple of stations out in Alberta, so we'll open it up to Alberta and east. Anyone wishing to check in, please come now.
Victor Echo 6, November Radio in Calgary.
Victor Alpha 6, Delta Whiskey Foxtrot.
All right, well, two good gentlemen there. I've got VE6NR. Good evening, Stefan. And I've got VA6DWF. Good evening, Stephen. Stefan, come on aboard, sir. VE6NR, V3BF.
Yeah, Dennis. Good evening. V3BF, V6NR returning. Stefan in Calgary. And I just turned on the radio, so I missed what the net question is. But we had the flea market here this past Saturday, and I picked up a yaesu FTM 100. So now I'm running a digital node at home and playing around with that and enjoying that quite a bit. Otherwise, not much else going on here. And the weather is looking good here. We've got a good melt going on. And we've had a few snowstorms every few days, it seems like. I think the last one we had was Sunday. And deposited 10 to 20 centimeters on the city. And it's all gone now. We're back to where the melt had left off a couple weeks ago. So hopefully it continues in the positives here. V3BF, VE6, November Radio.
Well, first off, congratulations on the new radio. The node sounds great. The digital, I noticed it. I think you were on the air a couple of days, either a couple of evenings ago, or I had the radio on, and I noticed it right away that you were digital. So good stuff. Good to hear it, and congratulations. And glad to know the weather is getting better. And the topic tonight is about surge protection. I had a power spike here on Monday that took out my Wires X machine. So at least the computer, not the node itself, but took out the computer. So my question tonight was, how do you protect yourself for surge protections or lightning protection? And the running total tonight is really leaning towards power bars. People use power bars with surge protectors in them. So, Stefan, if you want to take a second to tell us what you use out there, that'd be great.
Oh, wow. Let me think about that now. I haven't thought about this in quite some time. I think all my equipment in the shack is connected via UPS that has surge protection built in. And I probably don't have anything on the power supply powering my radios, though. But good question, good topic. Something to make me go, I heard the tail end of the last conversation, and it sounded like, doing a little prayer or a dance every evening when you go to bed is popular. So I suppose I do a little bit of that in relation to some of my grounding. I do have some grounding, but probably wouldn't cover me in most situations, I'm guessing. Anyways, that's about it from here. V3BF, VE6NR.
All right, very good. Well, you can always check the podcast there. That's going to be on the Facebook page tomorrow or in the next couple of days. James is doing a great job on that, so you can hear what people had to say at the earlier part of the net. So thanks for being with us, and again, congrats on the new radio. VA6DWF, good evening, Stephen.
Yeah, good evening, guys, to all on net and Dennis. Welcome to the Club of Power Surges / in my case, lightning strikes last summer. I find an insurance claim does wonders, but if you need to forego that, then certainly power bars, or I was thinking of putting West Mountain radio solution in place where I can unplug my power source from the wall during inclement weather and run it directly from a battery, which I think would be a closed system if I'm not mistaken, and then have the transit trap or whatever they're called on the antenna to cover any surges coming in that way. Just a quick question for you. I had a question on an analog C4FM node. Can you use any radio to connect, or does it have to be a yaesu radio? Anyway, back to you. VA6 DWF back to VE3 Bravo Foxtrot.
Just to make sure I understand your question correctly, let me answer it this way. It has to be a yaesu radio with a data port that's hooked up to the node, and of course the node hooked up to the computer. But if you're in the analog mode, and you can select a digital or a tone squelch if you wish, or you don't have to, you can make it. Actually, I think that in the new software that I just installed in this computer, you have to select a tone squelch. But any other brand of radio, as long as they have the frequency and the tone squelch, will be able to communicate with the node. So that opens it up quite a bit. Does that answer your question, Stephen?
Yes, I think it does. So basically you can connect an analog radio that has the right 6-pin connection, I think, instead of our regular 10-pin. And once you have that, anyone with any radio can connect via FM with the right tone squelch, correct?
Yes, that is correct. And even if you're hooked in through the 10-pin on a radio that's digital capable, if you set the node in the analog mode, and I do that from time to time here to be able to use, before I had my digital handy-talkie, I used to set my node up in analog so that I could walk around the house with my FT60 or my Bofang radio. So, any brand will work, and any of the normal control radios will work. You just set up the node in analog in the settings. So, have fun with that. It's kind of a fun little thing to do, and it allows other people to get their wet their whistle, if you will, to what's going on here in C4FM. As a matter of fact, here in Ottawa, we have VE3 RIX repeater, which is a fusion repeater, but it's in analog only, and the node is in analog. So, a number of people can use it there and come in through the analog side. So, thanks for being there, Stephen. That was a great question, and I'm glad that I could shed some information there for you. That's what we try to aim here in the Canada room, is to share info. Let's open it up a little bit more. Let's go to British Columbia and Western U.S. Please call now.
VE7 Alpha Mike.
VE7 GDE.
Victor Echo 7 with Bravo Mike.
All right, there was 3, and I stepped on 1. So I've got VE7 AM. Good evening, Mike. I've got Jack, VE7 GDE. Who was the third?
That'd probably be me, VE7 WVM.
All right, Brad, I got you in there. Was there a fourth?
VE3NQ.
Good evening, Wayne. I got you, VE3NQ. All right, we'll get to you in a second. Let's go to the top of that list. VE7 Alpha Mike. Good evening, Mike. Come on aboard.
Okay, very good, Dennis. Good evening to you and the net, and also to Louis. I'm glad he remembered the V2 LPS we checked in. And I heard Mark in there, V2 MMH. I don't know if he's still there. Dennis, I have a panel, my main panel, and I also have a sub-panel, and electrical panels, and they're both protected by an industrial surge suppressors made by a company called Intermatic, INTERMATIC. And so far, like I said, everything has been fine. There's never any guarantees.
So I also have some power bars. I guess that's a little redundant, but these industrial surge suppressors get connected onto your main panel, so the whole house is protected. So there you go. And I also have surge suppressors on all the coaxial cables, and I have a grounding, I call it a grounding station outside, and they're all connected to the surge suppressors for the coax are connected to a counterpoise, ground counterpoise arrangement. I'm a little bit high here in altitude. I'm a kilometer above the city. So there you go. Hopefully that explains the reason why I've taken all these precautions. So that's the story here. I have, just for surge suppression and electrical, I have these industrial ones made by Intermatic. So that's it, sir. The 3VF, this is the E7AM Vernon.
All right, Mike. I think that location was chosen by Ham, being a kilometer higher than the city. I'm envious. Thanks for joining us this evening, and thanks for sharing what you're using. And let's see what kind of insight Jack's got. Jack, I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say. For those of you who don't know VE7GDE, Jack is an electrical contractor. So come on aboard, Jack.
VE3 Bravo Fox VE7GDE. Before I start, Steve in Nanaimo was trying to check it in. Victor Echo 7 Tango Fox at TDF. I was trying to check in, but maybe you can get him on the second round. Yeah, as far as surge protection goes, I have an all-panel surge protector, and I haven't experienced any problems with the ones we've installed. I'm not saying you can't. I've got the same one as the last caller had. I have Intermatic in my complete panel, and it protects everything 120 and 240 in the panel, which is good because all your appliances are full of electronics. But I haven't experienced the problem of having any failures with them yet. I know they've been around a long time. They seem to work, but I'm also a huge fan of uninterruptible power supplies because they also supply surge protection. But I think it's more for surges than it is for lightning protection. I don't think with the amount of energy you're going to get from lightning that much is going to help. And I work the same way you do. I say a prayer every night too, because none of my equipment, radio-wise, is protected by lightning. Having said that, it's because we don't get a lot of lightning here, but it certainly could happen. So I'll turn it back to you there, Dennis.
All right, very good, Jack. Well, thanks for the inspiration on this topic there this evening. Much appreciated, and we'll chat with you a little bit later on. VE7WBM, Brad, good evening, and come on aboard.
Good evening, Dennis, and all others on net. Yeah, fairly new to the whole ham world, or not quite as new anymore. Coming up on my 1-year anniversary of getting my license, so almost not a rookie. For surge protection and everything, I've just managed to get a power bar. I do have a grounding rod outside that is up to the antenna just on top of my chimney. Mainly it's going to be for wind static. I have on my wish list to get an actual lightning surge interrupter to put into the transmission line, but as of yet, it's still kind of on the wish list. It's coming. And other than that, yeah, not overly protected as far as lightning or anything. Thankfully, unlike Mike, I'm actually down in a little bit of a hole and near the bottom of the valley, so get decent coverage off the top of my chimney to local repeaters, and that seems to work for me. Anyways, pleasure to check in. I noticed when you were calling for check-ins, there was VE7 Lima Tango Whiskey out of Kamloops. I think he was trying to reach you as well, so there's going to be a couple more for the bottom of your list. Back to you, Dennis. VE3BF, VE7WBM.
All right, very good, Brad. All right, I got Lima Tango Whiskey here as well as Tango Fox, so I'll call them in a second. Let's go to Smiths Falls, Ontario, and say hello to Wayne. VE3NQ, good to hear you, sir. Come on aboard.
Thank you, Dennis. VE3NQ. I did try to check in earlier, but I kept getting stomped on, so that's why I snuck in there when I did. And I'm running an Informatic on my service panel coming in, which looks after both legs of the 100 amp coming in, and I've got UPS
on all my computers, I run a UPS on them with the surge protector built in. Great net, Dennis. Take care, sir. V3BF, V3NQ.
Well, thanks for being persistent and getting yourself in here, Wayne. That's sometimes those things happen. I know on the local net here, I'm, I run I forget to turn my power up because I use it on my client radio here. So I'm about 30 kilometers away from the repeater with 5 watts, and I get stomped on. Let's go. I don't know if I got the whole call here. VE7 Tango Fox, is that right? Or is it, anyway, you can correct me and come on aboard. Victor Echo 7 Tango Fox maybe, or anybody who sounds like that, come on aboard. All right, let's go to VE7 LTW. Are you still there?
Yeah, good evening to all on net. VE7 LTW. Yeah, you're dropping out a little bit there, Dennis, at the end. I'm not sure if it's on my end or what it is, but yeah, I'm just got the FT100 working, and I'm running full power on it now, and I did buy one of those little cooling fans to put underneath it, and I'm actually quite pleased at how well it works. It would be nice if it was on a bit of a thermostat and turned itself off and on, but it certainly keeps the radio cool, which has been going full steam here ever since we started the net, so I do run the node so that I get a couple other guys in town here that can get on as well, so we are working on getting that repeater set up here in Kamloops sooner or later, but anyway, it seems to be working okay, so I won't hold it any longer because when I'm talking they can't hear me either, so back to you, sir.
Oh, very good, Dave. I run the same little fan there, and I think it does wonders. It's not very loud in the shack, and it stays on. It's been on for a little over a year now, and it doesn't make any noise. And every now and then I shut it off, and I take the little grill off, and I take off the dust that builds up on the edges. Yeah, it's been working great. So good on you, sir, for that, and thanks for joining us this evening. And glad we could hear you there. Not sure if the dropouts are on my end or not. We've been having some internet issues, so hopefully I'm not getting too many packet losses. That brings me to the bottom of the list, unless Tango Fox is back in Nanaimo. Steve, was that you that was trying to check in? We'll give you one more try. No, nothing heard. We chased them away. I apologize for that. Any other stations wishing to check in? Any stations anywhere? This is Victor Echo 3 Bravo Fox with the Cross Canada C4FM net.
X-Ray Tango Dragon.
I'm Charlie Alpha Sierra.
Okay, I got a whole bunch of stations at the same time. I did manage to pick up, I think that was Scott that was in there, VA3EXT. I got Jason, VE9 CAS, portable, I guess your portable whiskey 4. And who else did I miss? All right, well, let's go to Jason, VE9 CAS, portable whiskey 4. Good evening and welcome aboard from sunny Florida.
Thanks, Dennis, for calling me in there. Yep, I sent out a couple of emails, had my buddy Al there, and got permission to move the Kilo 4 Bravo repeater into the CQ Canada room. I connected about 5 minutes ago and just thought I'd going to try to do as many check-ins as I can while I'm traveling along the coast. As you said, Dennis, I am in sunny Florida, Orlando, on the 6th floor looking at the big I wheel here downtown. And very, very nice day today. Went to the beach on the East Coast. And tomorrow we're going to head to SeaWorld. And Friday, I hope to meet up for the very first time with N1CDN in Florida. He's going to come and see me and meet me, and as I've done with you and some of the other hams, I look forward to meeting anybody that travels around with me. So I'll keep it short. Thanks for calling me in. It's plus 33 degrees here. Back to net control. VE3BF, VE9 CAS portable whiskey for Orlando, Florida.
All right, very good. Good to hear that you're staying nice and toasty there. And it's 34 degrees here in Ottawa, but that's on the Fahrenheit scale, so that's +2 for A little bit of a difference. Thanks, Jason. Really good to hear you. That's a big surprise. I did respond to you on your electronic check-in, but glad you could make it in. Let's go up a little further north and say hi to Scott, VA3EXT. Good evening, Scott, and welcome aboard.
Evening, Dennis. V3BF VA3EXT. We got the -3 here. Got up to +8 today. Beautiful day. Our snow is going slow. We're still driving out on some of the lakes. The ice hasn't gone much. We're in the teens at night, a lot of nights, so we're not losing much too quick. But anyway, just thought I'd check in. Sounds like a decent net. Getting back into a little bit of music. We played at a gig, my son and my dad and my nephew and I, at a country gig a couple weeks ago. So now my son Will and I are kind of looking at building a couple Stratocaster guitars. He has access to a CNC machine at the high school, so we're looking at some plans and mocking up some MDF for a test, and once we get that figured out, we're going to try and carve a body with the CNC. Back to you, Dennis.
Oh, wow, that sounds like a really neat project. I wish you all the best of luck with that, and post some pictures, that's for sure. Thanks, Scott. Thanks for being with us, and that sounds really, really cool. I'm glad to hear that the snow is starting to melt up that way. We lost most of everything that fell on the weekend, but I know that just west of the city here, about an hour and a half west of the city, there's still 2 feet of snow on the ground from this week. So that brings me down to the end of that little list. We'll make one more call. Any stations anywhere wishing to check in to the net, please call now. Well, nothing heard. Just 2 announcements before we close it down. One is kind of good news. For those of you who are waiting for the new yaesu FTM 7250, the price has been announced. It is on the Radio World website, and availability coming very, very soon. I know in the U.S. it's releasing next week, so I'm sure it won't be too much longer before we see some here in Canada as well. And on a sadder note, for those who may not be aware, Durham Radio in the GTA area has closed its door for good on Saturday, or last Saturday at 3 o'clock. They closed their doors, and the website now says that they're closed permanently. So kind of a sad thing. To all who were on the net tonight, I say thank you very much for joining us. We have 29 check-ins, including myself, so nice to see the participation is there. If you have any topics for future nets, please give me a shout. My information is good on QRZ. I'm also on Messenger on Facebook. 73 to all. This is V3 Bravo Fox returning the CQ Canada room and the various repeaters and nodes back to regular amateur use. So we'll see you next week.